Happy 4th of July, 2014. I'm Roger Mitchell, photographer at Motiontography. Yeah, I know, it's been long overdue. I keep promising that I'll make a couple of tutorials explaining my workflow and basically showing how I get my images to look the way that they do. It's just so hectic at times, trying to find the time to sit down and actually putting a tutorial together could be a little intimidating. For one, I've never done a tutorial before, so let's get started and see if I can actually finish this thing. So we're gonna open up Lightroom and let's see if we could actually get something done. If you happen to hear gunshots, actually it's not, it's just kids outside playing with fireworks. But anyhow, let's get started. Okay, so how I usually work, especially if I'm doing a composite, I would have the image, the final image in my head. Basically, I would already know what I would like to do or how I'd like it to look, but in this case I didn't. Reason being, we at the last minute decided that we were going to do composites, so I had no images or background images to pretty much use as references in pretty much where to position the model, basic stuff like that. So what I did, I took a bunch of different pictures, different perspectives, so I could actually find one that may work with one of the backgrounds that I already have. So that's what we're gonna do today. I know one question people always ask me is why do you use gray instead of green? I actually learned this technique from a guy called Calvin Hollywood, a very good photographer. Basically it's two of them, Calvin Hollywood and Glenn Davis is another guy. So let's get started. Usually what I'll do, because my beauty dish and boom is in the way, I would usually fill this with the seamless gray. But in this case, because I don't have an idea what background I'm going to use, and I think this will look better as a tighter shot, I think I'm just going to crop and then go from there. So I'm going to go into the develop module, and okay, so we're in the develop module. So the first thing I'm going to do before I crop is actually fix the white balance. So I'm going to use the picker tool, and because it's seamless gray, it's basically a neutral color, so I don't own a color checker. So what I would do is I'll take pieces of my seamless gray and I'll have the model hold it up if I'm using a color other than the gray background. But in this case, the background is gray, so I don't need. So I'm just gonna check that, and what that did is basically change the white balance to something more of daylight, because we had 5,000 right here, so it's pretty good. So now we're going to crop this right under the beauty dish, and I think I'll bring this up just a tad bit, and since she's facing that way, I'm gonna push this a little bit more that way to have her back to the lesser side. Okay, so might want to bring that up a bit and hit done, and let's see, it looks pretty good. I think let's see if I could give me a little bit more. I mean, it shouldn't make much of a difference. Okay, so let's start with there. So the first thing I usually do is think of raw conversion. It's not really necessary in this image, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to show you how it's done. There's a lot of detail and glitter in her dress, so the first thing I'm gonna do is raise the clarity just a tab, just until you can see a little bit more detail. Okay, right about there maybe. Raising the clarity will actually make my blacks darker. So what I'm gonna do is bring up the shadow just a tab, just until I could get some detail. What I'm actually looking at is her hair, since that was the darkest part of the picture. So I'm actually looking at her hair. You don't want to do too much because then you're gonna introduce noise. So I'm bringing it up just a little until I can get detail in the darkest portions of the photo. So now that's done, I'm going to send this over to Photoshop. So I go to Photos, Edit, and I'm using Photoshop CC 2014. So I'm going to take it over to Photoshop and just give it a few seconds for Photoshop to load. Okay, good. So we're in Photoshop, and that's our background image. Let's go back into Lightroom. I think I get a little bit more detail in this frilly thing here. I don't know what that's called. So I'm gonna raise the clarity even more and bring up the shadowing. Okay, and let's import this into Photoshop. Okay, cool. So what I believe I'll use from this second one is the, I guess that's a flower or the ribbon basically, and maybe the frills, some of these here. I'm not gonna bring in the, well, I don't know, I'm yet to determine. Let's see. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Okay, so actually what I am going to do, I'm going to use that. So this is what we're going to do. Let's delete the first one we did. I kind of like the way the dress looks in this one. It's a little grungy, but I can fix that, the edges. I can fix that with the other one that we're about to bring in. Okay, so let's go back into Lightroom and let's take the clarity out of there. Okay, so let's import this. See if there's anything else I can find. Nope, we're gonna import this one. So photo, edit in Photoshop. Okay, so we're gonna bring this one in. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. So this is gonna be our background. So we're gonna click on the move tool and we're gonna drag, we're gonna go to the background, the one with the clarity, and we're gonna drag that into our image here. We're gonna hold down the shift key and release. And what that basically did, by holding on the shift key, it pretty much lined up the whole image perfectly. So just make sure we got the right one here. So we're gonna close this one, don't save because we don't need it. And now we're gonna create a black mask. Must say that hopefully that you guys know at least the fundamentals about Photoshop. I don't really want to go into how to create mask and how to do different things like adjustment tools and whatnot, adjustment layers. So this is basically, I'm thinking that you already have the basic understanding of Photoshop. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, since we have our black mask up, we're gonna find a soft brush. Not that soft, I'll say maybe about 50-ish, somewhere around there. And we're gonna increase the size a little bit, and we're gonna paint. So basically, by having a black mask, that hid the effect that we did on this layer right here. So by painting with white, it's actually going to reveal the underline layer, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to paint in the dress. Don't worry about spills, you can fix that later. Just trying to get the borders here. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the gloves with this yet, but if you notice, it brought in a lot of detail and depth into the dress, which I kind of like. I might have to reduce the opacity a little bit, but we'll see when I get there. The gloves, no, I'm gonna take it off. The gloves just doesn't look right. So let's decrease the size of the brush, and I'm using the bracket keys to increase and decrease the brush size. Let's decrease it, hit this glove. I'm not sure if I'm gonna leave it on the glove yet, but I'm just putting it on just to see. And let's do the upper part of the dress. You definitely do not want this to touch the skin. That's a no-no. Just be careful. And okay, now I'm not sure if I missed any spots on the dress, so to find out, you just hold the backspace and that will show you if you miss spots like I did. I'm also gonna do the frilly part right here. I gotta look, I'm curious to find out what this thing is called. And reduce the size of the brush. Usually I would zoom in and all that, but I'm just doing a quick so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now on this right here, the ribbon here, because it's transparent, I'm gonna reduce this to about 50 something here, and just paint that in. You don't want that effect. Just reduce the opacity just a tad bit. And I definitely don't want it on the air right there. Okay, now any spills? Nope. Get the glove right here. Yep. I'm gonna hit the X key to change my foreground and background. There's another one right here. Maybe we should get it at 100%. Okay, so we're looking good. So I'm gonna hit the backspace key to come out of the quick mask. And so basically this is what we did. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but that dress is popping now. Okay, so it only affected the dress because you definitely don't want this. Maybe I could, let's see how it will look on the shoes. I did not look at the shoes, so let's see. We got to paint with black, so I just hit the X key to switch. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Paint with white. And let's see, it's doing a little something to the shoe. I don't really need it that much because it's, you're not gonna notice it. Just maybe on these strap thingies here, maybe on the reduce that size, maybe. Nah, we don't want it there. Okay, so that should do it. Now I feel like doing, let's hit the let's see what I've done. I've made a little, oops, let's get rid of that. That should be good. Maybe back here a little bit. I don't really need it, so okay, so let's see what we did. Let's toggle back and forth. So we just give it a slight little pop on the shoes also. So the dress is the main thing. Okay, so from experience, we're gonna save this. And basically when I save here, it's saving it in Lightroom. Lightroom is pretty much non-destructive, so it's not actually doing anything to the original image. It's just basically changing the commands. It's basically Lightroom is giving commands to each pixel, how it should look, you know, so blah, blah, yada, yada. Okay, so we got that. So let's name this layer raw. And that's our somewhat raw conversion. Okay, now we have that. Our image is saved. Let's go back into Lightroom and look for a background. Okay, so I have my background stored on my external. Okay, right here. And I've also invested into Shutterstock, which is a pretty cool place for getting stock images. So I'm looking for a wall and floor. So I have mine categorized. So I'm gonna hit the G to get my grid view. And I'm gonna look for a background that I think will suit. I'm just gonna scan through real quick. It doesn't have to be anything special. Let's see, how about this one? Yep, that'll work. So we're gonna go to photo, edit in Photoshop, and we're gonna hit edit. So wait for Photoshop to load. Now, so that's background image. So we're gonna hit the move tool, and we're gonna drag our image into our image here, release, and we're gonna position this where we think it would look good. I'll say maybe about right there. That should look good. And if you want to know, you could just drop the opacity just to give you a slight visual, and that would work. Perspective looks pretty okay. It's not perfect, but let's see. Just gonna try to see where those tiles, how big those tiles are. So the higher you go, the feet looks bigger. So that's the best we can do because of the okay. So yeah, let's settle for that. So let's bring the opacity back up. And what we're gonna do now, this is what I was talking about. When I shoot in the gray background, it makes it easier to do compositing, because all I'll have to do now is just basically change the blend mode from normal to soft light. Ta-da! It's finished. No, I'm just playing. Okay, so we have a white mask, so we're going to paint with a black brush to hide the background that's covering her right here. So we're going to just paint over her. Don't have to be too exact because it blends pretty well with this image. Not all images you will be this lucky, but let's just paint. Okay, basically we're painting away. Now the tricky part is going to be this hand right here. Okay, so we're gonna get as close to that. I'll clean it up later. But for now, let's just get. Maybe we could also put a mask around the image prior to adding the background, but let's see if we can. If not, we'll. Okay, there we go. I'm not gonna touch the ribbon there because I want the background to show through it, to show the transparency. And maybe I should have left. No, actually no, that's good. That's that. The gloves, the bow. Now this part right here, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go at 100%. Let's see, let's undo that. I'm holding Command Z, and let's drop this down. I just want to see what it looks like. Let's bring this down to about 50%. I think I'm gonna go with that. I'm not sure yet. Let's see. Let's see what this looks like. And notice every time I if I lift the brush and I come back on the image again, it's gonna add another, what's this, 49% on top of what was already done. So try to keep it in one flow. Okay, let's see, which I just did. You notice, you see it there? Oh, sorry, we'll fix that. Yeah, I might have to bring this up to 100. Doesn't look the way I want it to look. So bring this up to 100. So let's rock and roll with a 100. So we're just gonna do something really rough, and then we will neaten it up. Okay, right there. I'm gonna go over because I couldn't tell where my border was, where background ends and legs started. I'm gonna zoom in a second and clean this up. I'm just lazy. Just wanna get that done. Okay. Get the ankles there. Okay, I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over the edge there so I can see where it begins. Okay, cool. There, I'm not sure if I'm going to, let's leave that right there. I'm just going to take it under this part right there. Okay, now let's zoom in. Let's see, let's correct right here. So I'm gonna hit the B to go back to my brush tool, reduce the size, and hit the X to change foreground to background, and we're gonna bring that down. Hope my hands are steady. Yep, get in there. Right there. Cool. Let's do the same for this one. Come on. There. Just trying to make it look as realistic, because remember, you're selling a lie. So you're gonna try to make it look as realistic as possible. Okay, now I'm gonna hit the X key to go change my background, my foreground to background, and I'm just gonna fill in here. Okay, and do the same for over here. I'm gonna have to fix that one little piece there. It's a little too bright, but I'll fix that later. And I'm gonna go outside so I can see where my edge is. It's easier to go in than to go out. Okay, this I don't need to, I could stay in now. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit the X key and I'm gonna switch, and I'm gonna go back in now that I have a defined line to work with. And as I said, I could have made a mask prior. The only thing with the mask, you know, I have to go into refine edges. I mean, if I'm working for a client, definitely I would make a mask, get it precise, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, now I'm gonna drop the opacity just a tad bit and reduce my size, and just right where the dress meets the leg there, just to show the transparency. I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna leave actually a little touch right there. Okay, now go back to 100%. Excuse me. Wait a minute, I missed a spot right there. Right there. Okay. Now let's see the shoes. Let's fix that really quick. Painting with a black brush. And let's just clean that up. Basically, as you know, I'm just removing the background from over her shoes right now. Reduce that size, go down. Okay, and the other one, let's bring that in. I'm gonna use the quick to see if I missed a spot. And I actually hit the backspace to get to that. I just realized I haven't eaten all day. Eaten anything. I'm hungry. Okay, so let's neaten this up. Okay. And now that I see it, okay, that right there, bring in that. Okay, so the quick selection is basically the easy way just to see where you know, where you've been, where do you need to go, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be exact, and I'll show you. Because of the blend mode, it's gonna make it look really good. I just wanna get as much as I can. Okay, is that a spot? Okay, I can't tell. Oops, I went over. So right here I need to take that off. I actually hit the X key to come out of change the foreground to background, and I did it again to switch back. Okay, so now let's get out of there and let's see what we've done. And I'm just hitting there just to go back and forth. Okay, so far so good. I missed a couple spots. Let's clean it up. I'm gonna hit the backspace. Wow, I missed a lot. Okay, so let's increase the brush size, and don't need to worry about the edges too much. Right here I do, right here I do, but on the edges don't need to worry about it too much. I'll just get right here, and I'll just get the shoulders. Don't need to worry about the edges. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, there's a spot here that I definitely need to get, which is right there and right there. Okay, let's see what we got so far. I don't like this little corner right here, so I'm going to zoom in. Let's see. Okay, I see what needs to be done. So we're going to paint. B for your brush, reduce the size. Actually, I should have brought that in at a lower opacity, but I already did it. I'm not going back. And bring the hand. Yep, that looks good. Cool. Let's check the other hand. There's a little spot right there. I went too far. X to switch. And that's good. Actually, I missed a spot right there. Good. Oops, I went over. Okay, this is the part I don't like doing. The skin. Skin always gives me trouble. But let's do it. Gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, so I'm just brushing that in right there. Okay. I think we got it. That might be it. Let's see. Let's zoom out. And I don't like the edges here. It's a little too contrasty for my taste. So what I'm gonna do, the reason being, light is coming from this direction, so there's no need to have that line of contrast or the fringing right here. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the background to kind of, and I'll do this at, let's say 30-ish, 35%, and I'm going to paint with black to hide. Actually, I'm sorry, we're gonna paint with white to reveal. Okay, and we're gonna just finish that off. That's to kind of make it. And now I'm gonna go back and just try it with a bigger brush and see if I can blend this any better. Then I'll just heal the background away. Okay, that might work. Here in Fireworks. Okay, let's see if that is any better. It's a little better, not what I want. I might have to, I'll fix it later. Let's see. Yeah, I'll maybe dodge and burn that part. Okay, so overall the legs looks good. Let's see what else. Up, I see a problem right there. Let's zoom in there. Yep, right there. So let's hit the B for the brush tool, and we're gonna get that in I'm at 36. Let's bring it up. I don't want to go all the way to 100. Let's bring that in right there, about there. See if we can go outside a little bit. That should be good. Okay, let's see what we're looking at. Okay, there's a tiny little spot right there that I miss. Right there, I see it now. Right there. Okay, let's go back out. Now, this part right here, I'm gonna fix this, but I want to keep the see-through material the way that it is. So I'm just gonna paint with B for brush. Oops. Okay, so B for the brush, and just above there. Like for instance, I wanted to keep, see how that looks? I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna leave that the way that is and get rid of that. And I don't think I should have done that. I would reduce this a little more. I just dropped the opacity to about 45 because the light's coming from the other direction, so this side should be a little darker. Okay, so the rest we can fix. Let's just toggle through, and I missed a spot right there. Yep, right there. And right there. Let's go back up to 100. Right there. Right there. Don't really. It's the ugliest mask ever, but it will work. Backspace to get out a quick mask. Okay, that would work. And the reason why I left this darker is because the light's coming from this angle, so there's no reason for this to be lit or as light as it is in the original. Okay, because it's under the dress. Okay, so I think I'm good with the background. So what I'm gonna do is save this. And the reason why I save every step I make is because it has happened to me. You want a project, you got a deadline, and you're working, and then Photoshop decides to hiccup and you lose everything. Nothing saved. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so I saved it, and it's actually saving it back into Lightroom, as I said before. If I go to Lightroom, well, if I go to Lightroom right here and I go back to my image, if I can find it really quick, there she is, and I go to my image, there it is in Lightroom, and this is the original, and this is what we've done so far. So what I think I'm gonna do now, it's now 8 o'clock, sorry, wow, it's actually 2 minutes to 9. Wow, I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm gonna get something to eat, and I do mean PM. It's 2 minutes to 9 PM at night. Okay, so I'm gonna get something to eat. Haven't had breakfast. I've been on this computer all day trying to catch up on my work, and I'm gonna come back with maybe a part 2 and see how it goes. Catch you on the second side. Mm-hmm.